If you look at the statistics that show that who do the voters trust between Trump or Harris regarding the economy, you can see she's within 5 points, 8 points now, when the Biden and the Democrats were down something like 10 to 15 points only a few months ago. So we'll have to keep watching that. It's still a close race, but you can see gradually Harris pulling away nationally, but it's still all about the swing states.
Quickly, can you explain, it's been a long time since we've seen President Biden up there. He doesn't do that very regularly. What do you think made him go up? Today's the day.
Well, he did. He went up and did his victory piece on the economy at the same time that Harris was doing her speech. That timing wasn't that great for the Harris campaign, notwithstanding. But listen, Biden's got a record. He is a statesman. He may be the most consequential president of our time, or history, if you will. But I can see his efforts to show that his economy is growing. And messaging has always been a problem for this White House when it comes to the economy, because they just haven't been effective or efficient at it. And so I don't have a problem with him touting this great economy. He needs to do that messaging. I wish he had done it after Harris's rally, though.
Yeah. I mean, he's thinking about his legacy for sure, but this comes as she's been distancing herself from Bidenomics at the same time. Let's switch to this. This week, Harris's campaign launched an ad focusing on Latino voters in battleground states. She's lagging behind previous Democratic nominees with this demographic in particular. What does she need to do to retain or build on winning Latino voters, do you think, for your party?
Well, let's keep it in perspective. She's still up by 20-plus points when it comes to Hispanic voters and Latino voters as compared to Trump. But she is lagging behind where Biden was 4 years ago and where Clinton was, I think, 8+ years ago when she first in 2016. And so that's a concern. The media's reporting on it, but she's still way up compared to Trump right in this 2024 election. What does she have to do? She's got to keep pounding the message of economic recovery, this opportunity economy she wants to create, housing, jobs, and so forth, and health care. Those issues aren't different for any American, let alone Latinos. They really aren't. Obviously, celebrity endorsements and appearances help. Latino celebrity endorsements, that certainly helps. But in the end, you got to take the message right to the people. You got to pound that pavement. You got to get out the vote, and you got to knock on doors and really remind Latino voters who is going to be best for them. The other thing is this with Latino voters, you know, I do think whether it's the unions or Latino voters, there's a sense of sexism here, that there's still a path or a swath of voters who simply do not believe a woman should be president. I believe that. So we'll see.
Interesting. Well, in Florida, I'm just reading, Trump leads Harris by 7% among Latino voters. So he's got that going for him. All right, let's switch to this. Another voting group that Harris is struggling with is men. As we see gender dynamics, as you're talking about here, playing a role during this election cycle. Is her campaign using running mate Tim Walz enough to persuade male voters to vote for her? You know, I think about what prompted her to even bring him onto her ticket as her running mate. He was the one who came up with this attack line that conservatives or Trump and Vance were weird. And then all of a sudden they put him on a leash.
It surely seems like they did. I'm not sure they put him on a leash. There are a lot of decisions that go into how you use the vice president or even where the president goes. I think they ought to be using him more. I think you're going to see more of that. He did real well in the debate. I think the debate was a draw in most voters' minds. And so we'll have to see. But him being, he can appeal to those average white male voters, whether they're educated or non-educated, and he needs to be pounding away at that messaging for the next 30 days. That's why he was brought on. The other reason he was brought on was to say, hey, he didn't have a problem working for a president who happened to be a woman. And that really is messaging, because in the end, it's a popularity contest, and you have to play where voters are. You have to go where voters are. And there's some voters who have a problem with woman being a president still. There's a problem with her race. And then the GOP tries to exploit that, which isn't in their message program. It shouldn't be. And so you've got to play to all of that. And so I think you're going to see a lot more about Tim Walz. He's a great candidate, and I think he can relate to the average man, let alone the average voter.
Yeah, well, both sides have some heavy hitters. Trump has Elon Musk with him on the right, and Barack Obama is hitting the campaign trail for Harris. So it's getting down to crunch time. Scott Bolden, thank you so much for joining us on spending your week.
We
Ken with
got
us.
more celebrities than the GOP, by the way, just to set the record straight.
Yeah,
we got more.
you're watching the tallies. It very often is that way. Liberal Hollywood, as conservatives would say.
No
All right.